Good evening, everyone. It's 5:30 p.m. Go ahead and call the meeting to order. I'm going to go ahead and ask, starting from my right, if you're here, if you can go ahead and state your name.
Carlos Margo, present.
Anita Chavez, present.
Alisa Peña, present.
Rosalba Hernandez, present.
Celso Gomez Jr., present.
Okay, we do have a quorum for tonight's meeting. Next item on the agenda is for all of us to please stand and recite the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Secretary Peña, do we have any public comment at this time?
We do not have any public comments for today.
Okay, seeing that we don't have any, let's go ahead and go next to our public meeting. Next item on the agenda is our public meeting, our public hearing to discuss 2024 proposed tax rate for school year 2024. Presenters are, again, Ms. Crespo, Chief of Business, Finance and Administrative Services, Mr. Jaime Lopez, who's Executive Director of Budget and Finance. Could have you please make your way to the podium. Thank you very much. I know.
Thank you. Good evening. Good evening, Mr. President, Dr. Sorensen, and members of the board. I'm your Chief of Business, Finance and Administrative Services, and thank you, sir. We are here to present the public the proposed tax rate for the 24-25 school year. We are requesting the board to approve an increase in taxes based on the provision in section 26.042 of the Texas Tax Code, which allows increase the expenditures and the tax rate based on a disaster declaration. On last May 10 of 2023, Governor Abbott did a disaster declaration for Hidalgo County due to a storm on April. That storm impacted the district with different areas. School closures, property damages that were calculated around $3.4 million, overtime, extra duty for cleaning and evaluation of damages, and insurance premiums that have increased by $2 million, $2 million. So why we are requesting and how are these impacting? So we are seeking the approval from the board to increase the maintenance and operation tax rate. That is the tax rate that serves the purpose to support the maintenance and operations of the district. The total tax rate will increase from 1.0344 to 1.0533, an increase of 0.0189. Therefore, for the public, for the community, there will be an incremental school tax bill of $18.90 for every $100,000 of net taxable value of their home, because we are taking into account the 100,000 home state exception. So let me walk you through this table. The district revenue is broken in three areas. This part of the district revenue. This one portion is the maintenance and operation, or M&O, and that is the tax rate calculated to provide the revenues needed to cover maintenance and operation services. Thus, we base on this rate is where we base the budget for the year. These have two pieces. One piece is the maximum compressed rate, Tier 1, and that's the rate that the state established for us, and that is 0.6169. And the second part is the Tier 2, that's the tax rate that we control, and that's where we are asking you to vote today. This last piece in here is the interest and sinking. That is the rate that we calculate in order to be able to provide the cover or debt service. And that includes the interest and principal on bonds and other debt that the district has. So what is the impact for our community? Compared to last year, taxpayers will see a 0.0189 increase in total tax rate, equivalent to $18.90 every 100,000 in net taxable value, which monthly equals to $1 with 57 cents and daily 0.0525. For the district, this will align the revenue assumption of $5 million from a combination of local taxes, that is around $1 million, and the state aid that aligns with that local taxes, that is around $4 million, for a total of $5 million revenue. How this impact our community, just for that, giving an example. If your house is appraised at $100,000, with the homestay exemption, the school tax bill for that household is $0. Now, if we see the next house, you see that an appraisal of $200,000, now your taxable value is $100,000. Therefore, your tax bill will be increased by $18.90. As a last example, just to do the math, if your appraisal is $300,000, your taxable value is $200,000, and your school tax bill will be increased by $37.80. To give a reference on the value, housing value in the or attendance zone, based on Census Bureau on 2022, the 51% of the housing units in our attendance zone are under $100,000. So this increase, based on the 2022 census, will only impact the 49% of the households in our district. Finally, I wanted to show you the request that we are doing and how this looks like. We are requesting an increase from the prior year adopted rate, or 1.0344, and the amount that we are looking for is 1.0533. That percentage is only 1.83% of the tax that the community is paying right now. However, we have that rate called non-revenue. That is the rate that we will have to do if we don't increase any income for the district. And that rate is 0.9197. That is a 14% increase on tax rate. This difference is what the law requires us to refer when we are talking about the increase of the taxes. My impact on my bill will be only 1%, 1.83%. But compared on the regular cost and the no new revenue rate is 14% percentage. And that is what we are asking you to read when we approve the motion for increase the tax rate. That is our presentation. We are opening now for questions or conversations.
Thank you very much. Board members, do we have any questions?
I have a question. A quick question. Is there other districts that have already at that 0.17% raise compared to what we're trying to do?
Yes, the 17 cents rate that is reflected here has been already adopted through vote in the Big Five, if I remember correctly: McAllen, Edinburgh, Mission, and Cherryland is doing, and Cherryland is doing like us. Cherryland is adopting disaster pennies too.
Okay, thank you.
Is there a limitation to what you can use this money for? Like, does it have to go back to the areas that were affected?
No, there is not, because of the timing of the resolutions.
Great presentation.
Thank you.
Any other questions from our board members?
I do have another question. Assuming that we don't approve, right, to increase the tax rate, what implications are that do we have now after if we didn't increase the rate?
It will affect our budget as we plan it for the year, and will put us on a bigger deficit. And if we go even lower, it can impact us even more, because we will stop receiving the state aid associated to that taxes. So for in this case, we are receiving $1 million average approximately from the increase, but that increase gives us $4 million from the state. So if we don't adopt it, we are losing money from the state.
Thank you.
Just to clarify on slide number 8, it shows 51% of home values are under 100,000. Well, 51% of homeowners have homes that are valued at $100,000 or less, which means that they won't be paying, we're seeing any change.
No, at all.
So 49% of the other 49% rather, will be seeing essentially $1.50 per month more on their tax bill, or at the end of the year?
Depends on the appraisal of your household.
But
So
approximately, let's say, assuming it's a $200,000 appraised house.
that's what we put it here. It will be around $18.90 for the year.
For the year.
$1 at 8, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for coming back to slide 8. Dr. Margot, that's a very good question. The majority of the folks in this district would not be eligible, would not be paying into it, so thank you for that observation. Ms. Crespo, is there an opportunity for us to know what's going to be used? What are we going to use the money for? I mean, I know that we consider it disaster. Will there be an opportunity for you to share what's going to be used with the money that we receive from our
The
tax?
Funding was assumed on the budgeting, on the budget process. So it's already allocated through the whole $380 million that we have on budget. But I can tell you that we did incur on increases, like I said before, on the insurance, and that's around already $2 million of the $5 million
Yes.
that we have to budget for.
Great, thank you very much. No, slide 8 is very important, so thank you for sharing that. This was a very informative exercise that you put us through, so thank you for that. I know it took time for you to share that and come up with all of this. Board members, do we have any additional questions?
No.
Okay, amen, thank you. Ms. Crespo, thank you very much. Seeing that we don't have any more questions on that, let's move on to the next. I guess if there's anyone from the public that would like to provide public input, it says here. I don't think we have any, so it's on my agenda. Seeing that we don't, we go straight to agenda item number 7, superintendent's updates, announcements.
Yes, you can proceed because we have one agenda.
Thank you.
Okay. Superintendent's report?
Thank you. Blanca, can you update the slides? Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, President Alvarez, and board members. As we launched this school year, we also launched 2024-2025 district priorities. And so I am very excited to bring to you an update. You okay? Okay. I'm very excited to bring you an update, and I plan to bring the board and the community an update every 6 weeks or the subsequent board meeting as close as I can to the 6 weeks. We want to let not only the board know our update, but also the community the update on our work, and communicate very clearly our commitment to these district priorities as we navigate throughout the year and move into strategic planning for 25, 26, and beyond. So just reminding the public and the board our journey to the district priorities and how we got here. And so again, reminding everybody the journey from February to May 2024 was listening and learning. And so where the district priorities come from is all of the information, input, stakeholder engagement, participation, town halls, one-on-ones, small group, my district ambassadors, community engagement that we engaged in last year from February to May. We did an end-of-year report on all of the feedback that we had received from multiple stakeholders across the district at the end of the year last June. A pretty comprehensive report on all that we had heard and all that we had learned. And so we took all of that information and we created district priorities for this year to address the concerns and the needs of our district in order to move forward and begin to address and heal some of the things that were really elevated to high levels from our employees, from our parents, and from our students. So the superintendent, that is myself, and my cabinet will provide board updates at the conclusion of each 6 weeks period to promote transparency and accountability. We are accountable for achieving these district priorities and enacting them, and not just as a checkbox. This isn't just a we did it, one and done, and we've completed it. This is ongoing, and so what you'll see from tonight's presentation is that our district priorities go beyond just the bullets that are on the slide. It is how we act, and it's how we behave every single day, and how we carry ourselves. And so we see priority 1 for customer service show up in more than just the 4 or 5 bullets that are in the district priorities, but it shows up in other ways in how we act and how we carry ourselves across the district. And so as we enact that throughout this entire school year, the longer-term strategic plan work will be ongoing in preparation for 25, 26, and beyond. So again, as a reminder, the 24-25 district priorities are customer service, trust and transparency, high-quality instruction, excellence in leadership, integrity, and accountability. And these priorities are not just the priorities of central office. These are district priorities. And so as we engage with our principals every month, we start every principals meeting with the district priorities, because these priorities live and breathe on campuses. They live and breathe in the leadership of our principals and our assistant principals and in all of our district offices. Every place that there is leadership in our district, the district priorities should live, breathe, and exist at high levels every single day. And so we start principals meetings every single month with the district priorities. And so priority 1 is customer service. And this is to restore a customer service-oriented culture that puts our students and stakeholders at the center of our work. And without reading the slide, there were these 4 priorities that we listed out as big and bold priorities that we were going to accomplish as a central office. Everything from ongoing training to creating clear district systems that allowed all stakeholders to know who to communicate with and how often, administer customer service surveys, and especially the Division of Operations and Infrastructure to address how their own people felt within that division twice a year to measure employee satisfaction, as that was a specific division within our organization where the employees were very vocal about how they felt valued or not as employees. But I wanted the board and our community to know that it goes beyond just those 4 bullets. And so here are some updates in terms of customer service. And please note that this goes across all divisions. So starting with one you heard about at last board meeting, we realigned the stipend payments to meet the needs of our employees. We heard their voices and we met their needs. We completed leveling processes with minimal disruption to the system, offering pre-K programming in both monolingual and two-way programs where there was demand. We delivered training for clerks so they can improve customer service and communication to parents and families and stakeholders on campuses. That was done by the Office of Human Capital and Talent Development. We increased clarity on timelines for procurement processes for central office and campuses to support purchasing needs of the district. So there are clear processes in place that support how we purchase things in the district. And that was created by Ms. Crespo's division. We offered training for attendance clerks on appropriate attendance procedures and expectations in order to both support students and families so that our students and families know how important attendance is, so that we support students and families to make sure that they are here and here every day, because if they are not here, we cannot provide the high quality education that we know we are here to deliver, and that we ensure proper attendance taking procedures are happening on campus. And we also increased productivity and completion rates of operation and facilities work orders entered into School Dude, which is a system that we use in order to track and monitor work orders, with clear communication processes to principals and central office staff. And so as principals enter in the things that are wrong or need fixing on their campus in alignment with facilities, we communicate back with them in a timely manner so that they know whether these orders are in process, whether they've been finished, or if there are parts that need to be ordered. And so those processes are a customer service to our campus. And so they're just a few of how we're seeking to improve our customer service, both to our stakeholders, but also to our campuses. Priority 2, trust and transparency. Rebuilding trust and transparency through ongoing listening, sharing of information, and authentic stakeholder engagement. And so again, you'll see four big bullets here, 4 audacious goals that we have here around district-wide communications plans and a district-wide parent engagement plan. And you will hear both of those tonight because we said by the end of the 6-week mark, we're going to have those completed because those will drive high levels of engagement with our community throughout this year. And so as soon as I'm finished, both our Director of Communications and Public Relations will come up, as well as our Chief of Student Family Community Engagement, and share that with you. Hosting town halls, superintendent advisories, and we will also leverage student, staff, and parent community feedback throughout the year to start working on our strategic plan. And then some other items under trust and transparency. We increase visibility on campuses and engage in authentic conversation with educators about expectations for year 1 implementation of new instructional initiatives. How does that build trust and transparency? When anxiety is high about implementing new materials, it's our responsibility to build that trust and that bridge to let people know it's okay. We're in a learning year. And so the increased visibility from a superintendent, from central office, and from those who are here to support them builds that trust and builds that bridge and that rapport to support. Create a beginning of the year command center to increase trust in new central office processes. We had to build trust between our campuses and central office. Deliver board presentations on academic data with transparency around the need for academic growth in multiple areas. Increase the number of students meeting and mastering. That was all very transparent in terms of where we're going as a board and as a district in terms of increasing the number of students who need to meet and master, challenging ourselves as a district and as campuses on what we need in order to move the needle on student achievement. We've streamlined principal communication with a weekly principal packet. And I am certain that my principals who are watching this right now are smiling, kind of, about the principal packet because it puts all of the communication in one spot so that they're not getting 100 emails a week. Now again, it's a new process, it's a new procedure, and it's a lot of information sometimes for our principals to gather at one time, but I would rather my principals be with their teachers and be in classrooms and be in professional learning communities and observing instruction rather than manning 100 emails a day and 100 emails a week. So we have streamlined our communication processes to them. We update to parents in communication through false threats. We just had that quite a week last week and the week before, and so we communicated throughout that entire week. And we created new curriculum communicator to provide insight and resources for our parents into our new curriculum to better partner with them in providing the very best instructional resources. We need partnership with our parents as we implement new instructional models and new materials. Priority 3, high quality instruction. And so again, without reading, high quality instructional materials, dual language program, delivering high quality daily instruction where students engage with grade level standards, and then create structures to elevate professional learning communities and instructional leadership teams. So there are all of the under the hood quality instructional updates. The two-way dual language program in pre-K that aligns with evidence-based practices, the employment of a new assessment system that is aligned to TEKS, high-quality instructional learning walks to support and level set expectations for implementation, launch a comprehensive milestones and campus support plan, because this is about campus support so that those who are closest to our students and closest to our children have the support that they need so that they can do their very best job with instruction every single day. We, as a leadership team here in central office, have completed our TPES training already so that we are all calibrated on what it means to evaluate principals across the district, including myself. We engaged in that training. Provide clarity on the roles of content coordinators. Content coordinators are to support teachers in the classroom, to support principals as they lean into instructional practices. So we are very excited that our content coordinators are on campuses providing instructional support. And then we are engaging in a high school freshman success initiative to ensure that our ninth graders are on track, because we know that if our ninth graders are on track, the likelihood of them graduating and graduating on time with high GPAs and post-secondary careers increases by 50%. Moving on to priority 4, which is excellence in leadership. And again, you see here, it's around professional learning for our principals. It's around teacher evaluation. It's around leveraging school leadership and academic support. And it's about creating leadership pipelines so that we grow our bench of really strong leaders in the district. We know that the research is very clear on the impact of principal leadership on student academic achievement. And we know from our presentation around Lone Star governance that student outcomes don't change until adult behaviors change. And that starts with the leadership on the campus. And so we have to invest very deeply in our principals and our assistant principals in order to make sure that our teachers are supported to do the very best work with our students. And so we've launched T-test training for all campus leaders so that we are calibrated across the district in terms of providing teacher evaluation to make sure that it is used fairly to evaluate our teachers and transparently. We provided Title IX training to all campus leaders to grow their capacity and to ensure tight alignment with compliance. We host monthly professional learning with principals. We also keep operational items off the monthly principal agenda to make sure that we focus on growing their instructional muscles, but we also have an operational meeting with them via Teams once a month. We require, and I use this word require, principals and assistant principals to participate in professional learning on high-quality instructional materials, because if they don't know it, they can't lead it. So we had our principals attend this professional learning as part of their jobs. We offered multiple opportunities for educators to receive necessary professional learning for curriculum adoptions prior to the start of school during the past 6 weeks, and we'll also continue to provide these opportunities throughout the year. We will engage with external partners to bring new and innovative ideas to our district. And we will introduce very soon, super excited to announce, the Rising Leaders Program, where we will invest in our leaders who may want to become our next district leaders, either at the campus or central office. So we are super excited to roll that out really, really soon. And lastly, priority 5, which is integrity and accountability. We will conduct an audit of finances, provide continuous updates to the public on our financial status, realign the calendar for budgeting processes, which will start much earlier, and conduct an external audit for special education. Those are the big bullets, but there's so much more happening underneath that. And so again, developing systems and structures around this. We have already launched the request for proposal for our financial audit. We have already launched the request for proposal for the special education audit. We have produced a clear procurement process that has been shared with the procurement team, the central office team, and campus leaders. This provides checks and balances for fiscal responsibility and high levels of accountability. We have engaged all district employees in insurance verification processes that align with federal and state requirements and will also increase fiscal responsibility. We're implementing policy updates, as Ms. Miller talked about last time, from the Division of Human Capital and Talent Development. We are aligning the student travel policy from the Division of Student, Family, and Community Engagement to support extracurricular activities appropriately and ensure that our kiddos get to where they need to get to, fed, and appropriately use our funding. We've updated the Student Code of Conduct to engage students and families in positive behaviors, to improve student outcomes to align with federal, state, and local requirements. This was done by the Student, Family, and Community Engagement Division. We have streamlined transportation services to align with both state regulations, local policy, and fiscal responsibility. And we, tonight, shared a tax rate presentation with the board, along with outstanding needs from the district. And so, what are our next steps? Just to continue to do this really good work every single day, to work very hard to live up to the expectations, not only of the community and not only of the board, but of ourselves. I want to say that again. Not only of the community and not only of the board, but of ourselves. We hold ourselves to very high expectations. But I do want to just point out a couple here that I've outlined, is that the Division of Operations and Infrastructure will conduct their culture and climate survey by October 4th. Dr. Geary already has a draft ready to go to get a culture and climate survey of her employees. And so I really thank you for doing that and doing that in a timely manner. As the board knows, we are working diligently on our Lone Star governance, board goals, visioning, superintendent constraints. That will be workshopped on the 19th. Again, trust, transparency, high quality instruction, all the things that we mention here should be evidenced in our board goal work. Superintendent advisories will launch by mid-October and meet with the superintendent. So again, creating that trusting space, that transparent space, and that high level of engagement. District and stakeholder feedback survey will be launched either late October or early November. Superintendent strategic planning, district, and community engagement will begin in late October and continue through April, so that we get everybody's voice in the room as we create a strategic plan for 25, 26, and beyond. The Division of Student, Family, and Community Engagement will also host community conversations to talk about the now. I'm going to be doing my town halls to talk about future and strategic planning, but my colleague from Student, Family, and Community Engagement will also be hosting these conversations to talk about the now. And then I'm also very excited to announce the District Centennial Celebration Committee will be announced on Friday and begin their work planning for our district celebrations shortly, as we want to celebrate our 100 years of excellence together, loudly, proudly, as just excited as we can. So all leaders in our district will continue to live these priorities every single day, so that we realize the vision of this district, which is that educational excellence is the right of every single student in La Jolla ISD.
Thank you, Dr. Sorensen, for that 6-week update and district priorities. Board members, are there any questions for Dr. Sorensen regarding her plan or her presentation?
Mr. Alvarez, I have just a comment.
Yes,
Actually,
sir.
I do want to highlight something that Dr. Sorensen did that was really aligned with the second priority, which is trust and transparency, specifically with sharing of information to the community. And that was your participation in the panel recently with the RGV lead, State of Education and Workforce, I think it was. Mm-hmm. And you were probably the only superintendent there, at least on the panels for sure. But that to me, I mean, La Jolla ISD, the size of this district, has such a regional economic impact that it was really important and nice to see you there sharing with the attendees. There were a lot of employers there, and there's a lot of employers that are regional, but that will eventually be hiring La Jolla School District graduates. And I do appreciate you taking the time in the middle of the day to spend 3 or 4 hours, whatever it was, serving as a panelist with your higher ed partner, South Texas College, to make sure that everybody understands with regards to transparency and sharing of information all that the district is doing with dual credit programs, workforce training, and I think that was really critical. Mr. Alvarez was there too, so we were part of the audience, and you did a phenomenal job sharing that information. And like I said, this is not just about La Jolla ISD specifically, but when it comes to education and workforce, there are no boundaries, and you were able to convey that to the region. So thanks for doing that.
Thank you, my pleasure, my pleasure.
Thank you, Dr. Margot, for those comments. Do we have any other comments from the board at this time? All right, seeing that we don't have none, let's go to agenda item 7.2. It's actually in the same area. Parent engagement. Ms. Gomez Perez, it's all yours.
Thank you. Good evening, President Alvarez, members of the board, Dr. Sorensen, and the community listening and viewing us out there. And so let me just preface this with the parental engagement plan had a lot of pre-planning before we actually started doing this plan. We took a lot of the information that the campuses have already been using. Also, a lot of the information and that Dr. Sorensen had taken in from town halls, from her focus groups last year when she came in. And so we looked at some of those things that the schools were already doing, and then just how can we make them better, and how can we at the district level help the schools get better at what they're doing, collecting data, and then improving their strategies. And so when we looked at what were some of the things that we wanted to do for the 24-25 school year, aligned to our district priorities, is we look at our goals. And so for start, we want to increase our parental involvement in school activities and the decision-making that they're doing at the campus. We want to strengthen that communication between our parents, our schools, and the Division of Student, Family, and Community Engagement. We want to provide resources and training to empower our parents to support their children's education. We want to have that partnership between our schools and our parents so that we can make sure that our students are reaching that academic success. We want to foster a welcoming, transparent environment for all of our families, not just at the campus level, but also at the district level. And then we want to build and maintain trust through consistent, open communication and transparency in all of our campus and our district initiatives along the school year. And so when we look at goal number 1, increase our parental involvement and participation, and we're looking at what are some of the responsibilities that the schools are doing, and then also how are we from our Office of Family and Community Engagement are going to support our schools. So we want our schools to have different events at their campuses. We want them to host these large events where they're going to bring in their families, they're going to bring in their students, their community, and look at how can we help our students and with their academic, success at the campus level. We want to make sure that we have a good volunteer program where our schools are going to designate staff members that are going to guide and help our parent volunteers, and then for them to have active roles at the campus level within the school, a welcoming environment also. So as we're looking at how will we support the campuses, and so we'll provide funding where we can, right? But also help them with that promotional material. We're going to have our communication plan also, and so what are some of those promotional materials that we can help, and some of the logistical support for those school events that we want for them to be having. Volunteering, a management system where we can look at how are we streamlining those volunteers that are coming into our campuses, what are they doing, what are their roles, and then if we're not having enough, what are some of the strategies that some of the schools that have a really rich volunteer program, what are they doing to bring in their families so that we can share them across our campuses and making sure that we're doing that. We also want to train our volunteers that are coming into our campuses, not just with our safety procedures, but also with what are some of the other things that we do throughout our campus with Skyward and just things like that so that they're better informed with what we're doing. And then of course providing a lot of the support to our campuses so that we can do training for our school staff and provide that welcoming environment. And so for goal number 1, that's what we want to do. Goal number 2 is strengthen that communication and feedback mechanisms. And so regular communication with our schools. We want our schools to send out monthly newsletters and use any of the digital platforms that we already have. And so we use as a district Facebook, we have Twitter, we have our campus, our district webpage, and so we want to make sure that everybody across the board knows how to use those, and so that we're actively showcasing our activities and our student progress, and then all of those engagement activities that we have. scheduling our parent conferences, organizing parent-teacher conferences at the campus level at least once a semester. That's just at least. We want them to be coming in all the time, right? Report card nights and the curriculum nights, and then just looking at our HQIM materials and how are we going to do that. Feedback channels, and schools will establish open feedback channels, and so that's some of the training that we'll do either through the digital suggestion boxes or face-to-face meetings, and to allow the parents to voice their concerns and provide input to the schools, right? Along with that, how are we going to, from central office, provide that support to our schools, and so providing the schools with some of the templates. We do have campus reps that do our PRs, but we want to make sure that we have those newsletters, and how can we help you, look at branding your campus, and how will those newsletters look as you're sending them out, keeping up with their web page to ensuring that consistency across the district. Parent communication platforms, and so we do have a district-wide communication that we use right now, ThrillShare, and those of you who are parents in our district, you're receiving those text messages. And so how are we using those text messages, and what are we using them for? What are the best ways that we can use that platform that we have to communicate to our parents that we have already in place? And so we want to train our staff to have that effective use of it. Feedback systems at the district level, so create those district-wide feedback channels, and so surveys or focus groups, the town halls that we're about to start, and then an online suggestion box that we can use for continuous input and improve in everything that we're doing. Goal number 3, provide educational resources and training for our parents. We want to host workshops. We want the schools to host workshops, 2 per semester, focused on the relevant topics such as academic support, digital literacy, and participating in decision-making processes. Resource distribution, distribute educational resources, both print and digital, that provide guidance and support supporting their children at home, ensuring accessibility for all of our parents. A lot of the curriculum materials that we have right now do have those parent newsletters that we can be sending out, and so it's built into the curriculum. And so the only thing that our teachers need to be doing is printing those out, putting them in the kids' backpacks, and sending them home. This is how you as a parent can help your kids as you're doing your homework. Or for the next 6 weeks, this is what the student is going to be doing along the way. And so those are already in place. And so we're just need to do a better job of putting them in those backpacks and sending them out to the parents so that they can help their kids along the way as they're doing that homework. So at the district level, we want to have the support that we're going to provide our schools is organizing those large district-wide workshops with expert speakers providing in-person and virtual options, a resource hub. And so create a centralized online and physical resource hub where parents can access materials on supporting student learning, mental health, and more. And so currently, if you look on our webpage right now, our district webpage, and you go to parent resources, so the Office of Academics has already started working on that, and you can look at when you click on parent resource, you can look at the different grade levels and what are they doing for the 6 weeks, and a lot of the information of what the students are doing in their classrooms is already on there. We're looking at our webpage, and so how we're going to reorganize some of the other resources like our mental health and our counseling and our student code of conduct and all of those things, so they have easy access as they're looking at the webpage. But for now, everything for curriculum is already in one spot, and so that's good. Training support, offer training to staff and how to guide parents in supporting student success on campus and at home. And so we want to train our parents on how to use all of the tools that we have available to them. I can tell you I'm learning, right? I was a campus principal, and I just figured out day before yesterday that on Skyward, I can click a button and say, okay, if my daughter gets a failing grade, I'm going to get an email. And I didn't know how to do that. And so those little things that we have available to us for us to be able to use as parents is going to be a big plus. And so we need to make sure that we're training our parents with that. Goal 4, foster collaboration between schools, families, and communities. And so engagement with our community organizations. And so we're going to ask our campuses to partner with at least 2 local organizations to provide resources to host community-oriented events that directly benefit our families, and I'll elaborate in a little bit with that. Campus parent advisory committees, and so every campus is responsible for having a parent advisory committee. So schools have already established their PACs, and so that includes the parent representatives to collaborate on school improvement and engagement strategies. And so how are we going to help from central office? And so those partnership developments at the district level, we already have MOUs available to our campuses. And so those MOUs, we want to make sure that our campuses are getting the full extent of those resources, like getting Buckner to come in there, advancing together, and they can do presentations for our parents on what are resources out there, what does Hidalgo County have to offer, what does Buckner have to offer, so that they can use those resources with their families. And so making sure that we can establish those connections. And then, excuse me, I'm like congested, right? And so it's okay. So providing resources for those are going to be, those engagement activities is extremely important for all of our parents. So the campus PAC coordination, we want to make sure that we facilitate those district meetings for our campus PACs, and that way we can teach our parents and teach our campuses on what is the role of our campus PAC and how are they supposed to be helping us establish those meetings with them, how is their input valuable to the campus, and how are we going to improve that at the campus level. And the last goal, evaluate in progress and build accountability. And so we want the campuses to take ownership and track those engagement activities that we're doing. And so how much attendance are we having at our activities? How many volunteers do we have? How many hours are they putting in? Because if we're not having enough of those engagement activities, or we're not having enough attendance, what can we do better so that we can get more of that input from our parents? From our office, of course, the biggest thing that we're going to start rolling out in October is going to be those town halls and those community conversations, because we want to make sure that we have those forums that's going to help us in making sure that when we're looking at our strategic plan for the next 100 years, right? What are the things that we're doing so that we can get better, and we have our families, and because we all know that as parents and as educators, we need to make sure that we have that relationship with our parents so that our students can be successful. So adjusting the strategies that we're doing based on the data that we're collecting is what we want to make sure that we're doing throughout this school year, because then we're going to look at our participation, on our volunteer engagement, our communication analytics, the workshops, and then all of the parent surveys that we're collecting so that we can develop that long-term strategic plan as we're looking at what are we going to do for the next 5 years. And so we want to make sure that all of those conversations are happening, and we're evaluating this year's efforts, right, to develop that multi-year parental engagement strategy so that we can have a sustained commitment and growth for all of our kids in the district, because we all know that we want educational excellence for all of our kids. So, questions?
It's amazing how you said that all in one breath. Ms. Bettis, let me tell you, you did a great job. And so it sounds like you haven't been doing anything.
No, of course not.
No. Great job.
Thank you.
Any of our board members have any questions for Ms. Bettis?
I don't have a question, but I do have a comment. I think this is an open call, right, for our parents, for our communities, for the people that want to get involved. We're asking you, we want you to get involved. We don't know what's working unless you tell us, or what's not working, right? So
Exactly.
I challenge and I encourage the parents, brothers, sisters, come out, get involved. This is how we're going to make our community better. So thank you for putting the work that you're doing in.
That was a great comment. That was really good. And I'm glad that you encouraged, and for those that are listening and that are not here, an act for them to get more engaged. I have a question for you, Ms. Peña. So were any of these ideas that you laid out in front of us, were those any ideas from parents or folks that you've been hearing from?
We looked at some of the items or some of the comments that we
Great.
had from the town halls and the focus groups that Dr. Sorensen
Good.
had last school year. And so I know she had the parent roundtable
Yes.
last school year. And so a lot of these things were things, and they're calling.
Great.
Yes.
So I also want to answer that. And so one of the things that we heard over and over and over again last year was that they wanted to hear more from their campus. They wanted to hear more of what was happening in their school. They wanted to learn more about the programs that were available at their school. For example, how do we learn about our workforce programs, our CTE programs, our advanced academic programs? How do we learn about all of the opportunities that we here at central office know exist, right? We know that they exist. We know all the programs that we have to offer. How do the schools make that more real and relevant for the parent population that they serve, for the students that they serve? So as we're doing, say, academic programming in a high school, how are we involving the parents involved in the creation of the schedule, right? As we're talking about advanced placement courses, those advanced placement courses, those dual enrollment courses are for all of our kids. So how do we make that knowledge available to our parents from the campus? And so what we heard over and over again from our parents, and so as you notice, this engagement plan, it really does create the campus as the hub, right? Because that's where parents live and breathe, because that's where their children are. So again, you'll hear in the communications plan, and I hope you really do see the overlay between the communications plan, the parent engagement plan, and our district priorities around trust, transparency, engagement, and also lifting up our campuses as a hub of communication, because that's where students live and breathe, right? That's where our students are educated. That's where the programs exist. We have a job at central office to do, a very big job at central office to do, to grow and continue to get better at communicating out, and we want to support our campuses in doing that for the parents and families that they serve.
Thank you, Dr. Sorensen, for empowering not only our schools, but also our principals at the same time. Does anyone have any questions, any further questions for Ms. Pettis? Ms. Pettis, that was a great presentation, so thank you for doing that for us. Hope you get better. Next, we were talking about the communication plan, Joseph. Also with Blanca, there's going to be a tag team here, so you want to go ahead and go over it with us and see how all this fits.
Good evening, Board President Alvarez, board members, La Jolla ISD community watching from home, Dr. Sorensen. As the Chief of Staff, it's among my responsibilities is oversight of our Communications and Public Relations Department. So it's my privilege to stand aside the leader of our department, Ms. Blanca Cantu, as we've worked together over the last month and a half or so on the development of the plan that we're going to, that she's going to walk you through. So the plan's central tenet is to promote transparency and build trust among our district, amongst the district, school, and our various stakeholders. Ms. Cantus will walk you through the identified needs and the alliance goals that we have and how we're going to work towards them. It's all about improving how we communicate, getting better at how we communicate. I encourage you to listen for our commitments to improve and our intentionality to improve in the following ways this year. How we're going to help campuses become the primary hub of communications to families. How we're going to tell our district story. How we will strengthen relationships with our stakeholders through effective communication. How we will clarify our use of district communications channels and plans to improve our district website. How we will amplify the voices to the La Jolla ISD community and how we tell our story. How we will work across divisions to ensure effective communications with all of our stakeholders. And how we're going to be very intentional about strengthening our crisis communication preparedness. So with that, I will turn things over to Ms. Cantu.
Thank you, Mr. Nagella. So we have our 2024-2025 communications plan as part of our district priorities, and as Dr. Sorensen said, we would have communications plans at the end of our 6 weeks, and here we are. We're our communications plans. We have written a thorough communications plan. This is just a glimpse of the most important goals that we have in our communications plan, and our communications plan will be available on our website in both English and Spanish. And so our goals for our communications plan is enhancing transparency and trust, increasing engagement in district activities, using campus as first-line communication hubs to families, and advancing the district story and reputation via internal and external communications. And of course, building a clear brand and identity for La Joya ISD. And so effective communication is crucial to our success, ensuring all stakeholders have timely access to information. So this plan guides how we share the district story and promote the transparency and build the trust with our community. Our first goal is boldly telling our story. And so before we will be developing strategic media campaigns aligned with our district priorities. We will be focusing on key initiatives such as like the pre-K curriculum, our new math curriculum, our superintendent town hall, and we want to be able to tell that story thoroughly. And so before we would only tell what we were doing, not necessarily how we were doing it or why we were doing it. And so we understand our parents want to know. And so I don't know if you've seen our series of posts we've been doing since the beginning of our implementation of our pre-K program. So we started with our parents and featuring that, the implementation, the initial meetings that we had with them. We moved on with the professional learning that we provided for our teachers. And so now we're in the phase where we're implementing in the classrooms and what our kids are doing in the classrooms and how they're learning. And so it is very important for us to know and to share with our community what we're doing and how we're doing it. And we're delivering that to our community so that they can be well aware of all of the things that we're going to be doing. And so this is not only, pre-K is just an example, we're going to be doing that with all of the initiatives that we do. And so that is how we can boldly tell our story, to integrate the how and the why. Our second goal is to strengthen trust with social media. And so we felt the need of this because we want to be able to develop and implement social media guidelines for all staff and community use. We want to create social media a platform for success. We want to be able to share all those successes of our students, the successes of our staff, our community. And so we want to build that trust with social media and strengthen that. We want to be able to share all of these successes, whether it be from community members and or employees and students. And so we want to bridge that trust and that success through social media. We want social media to be a place where we celebrate our kids, where we celebrate our employees, where we celebrate our district, and of course where we celebrate our partnerships too, just like we did, and I know Dr. Margot made a really good example of that. And so we want to be able to share that, and we want to be able to successfully celebrate that. And so we want to also, our goal number 3 is establish websites as the primary information hub. And so by doing this, we want to be able to redesign our websites where they're user-friendly for our parents. And so we want to be able to do that across the board and uniform our websites, district and campuses, whether it be an elementary website, middle school website, or high school website. And so we want to be able for parents that have kids in either or level know where these resources are. And so if they're looking for events or they're looking for parent resources, they know where to find it regardless of the elementary or middle school levels. And then our goal number 4 is strengthen crisis communication preparedness. And so we want to be able to align our communication with the district's emergency operations plan, ensuring that timely updates on safety and security initiatives through district channels. We want to maintain accurate information for parents, staff, and students in the communication system. So we want to use media to communicate safely upgrades to the community. I know parents want to know what we're doing with safety. They want to know what we're doing, what our police officers are, if they're getting trained, if we're having new updates in our campuses, just how we're keeping our kids safe, how we're keeping our staff safe, but more than anything, our community safe. And so safety is our top priority. And so by aligning our communications plans to our emergency operations plan, this will be key to do that. And our last goal is bridging the community with the district. Basically, in this goal, we wanted to be able to give our community voice. And so to do that, we want to be able to implement our newsletter, a monthly newsletter. And so with that, we will be able to highlight our campuses, we would be able to highlight our employees, we would be able to highlight even our community. Our kids thrive in our schools and classrooms, but they also do outside of the classroom. And so in our community, we want to be able to successfully celebrate that too. And so that would be a bridge where we would work with community and the district to bridge that and to give them a sense of voice. We will also be doing our town halls with their superintendent, and that's going to serve as a voice too. We did town halls last year, and we heard a lot. We heard a lot of good things, though, good things that are going to make our district better, and we're going to be each day better at getting better. And so that will definitely give a voice to our community to do so, and it's going to make us better. Our kids deserve the world and deserve the best, and that's what we're here for. And so by doing that, we're going to be able to hear their voices and implement those voices in our strategic planning. And so this goal is basically that. We want to be able to bridge that to give everybody a voice. And summary and next steps is we want to be able to implement this as soon as possible. Some of these things are already being implemented, and I know that as some of our parents, you already got those notifications. We were able to notify our parents through emergency notifications, and so we do, some of these are already being implemented, but honestly, we will be implementing them all to ensure that our communication with our parental and our communications department work together to ensure that our community is well informed and our parents are informed as well.
Thank you, Ms. Cantu. Do any of the board members have any questions for Joseph or Ms. Cantu?
I have a question. So, Ms. Cantu, congratulations, first of all. This sounds amazing, and I'm sure the parents are excited to get this rolling out. But as you're talking, I'm seeing social media, emails, newsletters, but I'm thinking about maybe the kids that live with their grandparents or the parents who don't really have social media or understand technology. What are we doing? Are we identifying people that can't really
Sure. So we're trying to be able to inform everybody, and so that's why we want to establish the websites as our primary hub. So if there is no social media use in that household, they can still deliver or get those news based on giving them that opportunity to see their websites and/or our newsletter. And so our newsletter will serve as another bridge to do that, so that we're able to inform all of our audiences, not only social media users.
Thank you.
That's a good question, Dr. Hernandez. I was thinking the same thing. So we're going to have two options here, both online, the digital platform, and then, of course, the traditional paper.
So we have so many
That's great.
audiences, and so we're here as a communications department to serve all. And that is one way we found that not everybody is a social media user, and that is okay. And that is going to be okay because our websites and newsletter and other means of platforms will serve as that communication for
Great.
parents.
And we do appreciate that everything that's being distributed or visible to the public is both English and Spanish. So thank you for that. That's very important to us and to the community. So do any of the board members have any further questions?
I had a question, Ms. Cantu. On Goal 4, you mentioned that how y'all are maintaining accurate contact information for parents and students. How often does that information get updated?
So that is connected to our Skyward. So that is updated every 24 hours. So we do encourage parents to have their up-to-date information on their Skyward. That is where we're getting our information from. And of course, like I said, every 24 hours it's getting updated. Should there be a change within 24 hours, it will be updated on our system.
Thank you.
You know, I want to commend you for the outreach efforts that you and your staff did, especially during a time when we were hearing about school safety. We were getting alerts, and so we appreciate you working so closely with the chief. That was really important to us, and for allowing us to receive those alerts. We felt very confident that we were safe and that our students were safe. I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's a team effort. The leadership team, the support from our superintendent, my boss.
Yeah.
It's just a very team effort to be able to get to that. It's not just me. I'm just one part of it, but the support that I receive from Superintendent Dr. Sorensen is amazing, and so I want to commend that too.
Well, thank you for that. The other thing was during the time focusing on those key initiatives that we just rolled out, they were very interesting. To many of the folks, it was new to them. The pre-K, the mathematics. I mean, you did an amazing job. Dr. Little did a really good job a few board meetings back where he laid those initiatives out. He did really well. But the videos that I've been able to see or witness, tremendous job. And so, you know, again, I compliment you because it wasn't an easy task. But for us to be out there in the forefront meant a lot. And so we need to continue doing that. So kudos to you and your team and to those that were involved.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much.
It's a great
I have
plan.
another question.
Any other questions?
I have another question. So he just mentioned like the safety issues we were having, or not issues, but the threats we were having earlier. And I wanted to know, because you were talking about communicating with the parents and stuff like that, but as you're sending stuff to the parents, are the teachers that are actually working with the students, are they getting the same notifications, or not pretty much the same, but something related so that they're aware as the
What's
parents
going
are
out?
calling back and forth? Yeah.
Sure. So we were able to work a little bit that out. And so we send this communication to staff, to the principals, so the principals can communicate. But our system is getting updated, where as I send it to the parents, the staff will also receive it at the same time.
Thank you.
And again, Blanca, thank you for that, because you answer the why, you know, why we do things. And we don't do things just because it's 7 of us and a school board superintendent that says this is what we're going to do. No, it's input from stakeholders, meetings that you've had. That's the reason why I asked Ms. Bettis and the folks that spoke earlier. We appreciate the fact that the term transparency was used multiple times in the presentations that we've had so far, and the fact that you have been meeting with advisors, our principals who are key to the districts and to our schools, and of course our parents. So thank you for that. Do we have any further questions from the board?
Just want to say a great communication plan. Good job.
I want to give some time for Mr. Nagella to see he was part of our planning. He did a lot of support. So I want to thank Mr. Nagella for this support too on the plan.
Thank you. Thank you, Blanca. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you, everyone who did a presentation earlier today, and Dr. Sorensen, to you as well. Next item on the agenda is agenda item number 8. Do I have a motion? It's the next item is the agenda item consent agenda. Do I have a motion for the consent agenda item?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Do I have a second?
I second the motion.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Okay, let's go to the next agenda item, which is number 9. Before I read number 9, I do want it for the record to indicate that though we do have quorum, we are missing one of our board members. Jessica Ochoa is not present, so I just wanted to, for the record, indicate that, mention that. So we will be going into closed session. At this time, it is 6:39. Under Texas Government Code, Section 551.001, concerning any and all purposes permitted by the Act, including but not limited to the sections and purposes. Other Texas Government Codes that we will cover are 551.071, 551.129, 551.074, 551.072, 551.076, and 551.0821. We are now in closed session. We are back from closed session. It is 8 p.m. Next item on the agenda is action item number 11. Approval of policy update 121. Mrs. Miller?
We ask for the approval of local policy update 121.
Anyone have any questions for Ms. Miller regarding this particular policy? Seeing that there's none, do I have a motion?
I move to approve item 11.1.
Do I have a second?
I second the motion.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, 11.2, approval of Texas Education Human Resources Day Resolution, October 9th, 2024. Ms. Miller?
Good evening, Board President, Mr. Alvarez, members of the board, and Dr. Sorensen. I am Jamie Miller, Chief of Human Capital and Talent Development. Governor Greg Abbott has proclaimed October 9th, 2024 as Texas Education Human Resource Day. The Texas Education Human Resources Day is a day dedicated to recognizing and honoring the significant contributions of school staff in human resources. La Jolla ISD employs more than 4,000 employees, making us one of the largest employers in the area. Our HR team works hard every day to ensure our campuses and departments are staffed with top-notch professionals. We strive to be proactive, innovative, and forward-thinking. I will now present the Texas Education Human Resources Day resolution. Whereas the Human Resources Division is instrumental in recruiting, selecting, resourcing, and retaining quality staff in support of providing an excellent education for all students, and whereas Human Resources plays a key role in fostering satisfaction and loyalty among employees by allowing for professional growth and development and keeping employees informed about policies, working conditions, compensation, and benefits, and whereas Human Resources monitors and manages current and future workforce trends, organizational culture, legal and legislative trends, and ethical and social responsibility, and whereas Human Resources is an important part of district leadership and is vital to the overall productivity and efficiency of the district's workforce, and whereas Human Resources is a valued and respected department that sustains the district's most important assets, its people. Therefore, the Board of Trustees of La Jolla ISD does hereby resolve that October 9th, 2024 will be observed as the Texas Education Human Resource Day throughout the district. The board also encourages students, staff, and parents to express their appreciation to our Human Resources team members for their dedication and commitment to La Jolla ISD employees and students. The administration recommends consideration and approval of the Education Human Resources Day for October 9th, 2024, as presented.
Thank you, Ms. Miller. Do we have any questions from any of the board members? Seeing that there's none, do I have a motion for?
I move to approve item 11.2.
Do I have a second?
I second the motion.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much, Ms. Miller.
Thank you.
The following item is 11.3, approval of resolution number 2024-04, setting the tax rate for the 2024-2025 school year of a minimum of 1.0533 per 100 valuation for dollar amount 0.7869 for the maintenance and operations of dollar amount 0.2664 for interest and sinking for the La Jolla Independent School District, making certain findings and providing for the severability clause. Ma'am?
We are requesting for the approval of the resolution.
Do I have any questions regarding this particular agenda item?
No.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
I move the board adopt a proposed resolution to set tax rate and that the property tax rate be increased by the adoption of a tax rate of dollar amount 1.0533, which is effectively a 14.53% increase in the tax rate.
Do I have a second?
I second the motion.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Great presentation earlier. Next agenda item is 11.4, consider and take action regarding the superintendent's recommendation for the proposed termination of Chapter 21 term contract employees. Do we have a motion?
I move to approve item 11.4.
Do I have a second?
I second the motion.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you very much. Next item is agenda item number 12, which are our calendar dates. October 5th, 2024, La Jolla ISD Breast Cancer Awareness Walk, La Jolla ISD Back Stadium. October 9th, 2024, regular board meeting. October 11th, 2024, school holiday, no classes. October 14th, 2024, bad weather day, no classes. October 16th, 2024, special called meeting, student recognitions. October 23rd, 2024, regular board meeting. Seeing that we have no other dates to share, Dr. Sorensen, do you have any remarks before we close for the evening?
Yes, I just have one quick announcement. Thank you, Vice President Chavez and President Alvarez, for joining me today at the Monitor's Reader's Choice Awards. I was very grateful to be surrounded by incredible La Jolla ISD educators and leaders. We were selected as Reader's Choice Awards for our favorite elementary school, Camarena Elementary School, and favorite principal, Dulce Diaz. Favorite middle school, Salinas Middle School. Yay, Salinas Middle School, we're proud of you. And also favorite high school, Salinas High School. So we're very excited to be selected as the 2024 Monitor Reader's Choice Awards. And so congratulations not only to those leaders, but to the teachers, families, staff, and students of those campuses. We are very, very proud of you.
Yes. It was exciting to see. I think Ms. Chavez, Vice President Chavez, will agree that it was exciting to see everybody that was there, and especially having the principal there to receive her award. She certainly deserved it, and for the school to be recognized for its hard work. So thank you, Dr. Sorensen, to the board for all the great work they do, but especially our staff and our students and parents. Do we have any closing remarks from any of our board members? Seeing that we do not have any, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn this meeting at 8:08.
Do we have a second?
I second the motion.
Okay, and with that said, we are adjourned.